there, and welcome to another colouring video from Liz at Home. This is me, Liz, and we're colouring in this colouring book, and we're using Crayola crayons, and we're going to be colouring a portrait. This is Mermaids, Fairies and Fantasy, curated by Cheryl Casey. This is a book I've had from about 2016, and so far this is the only image I've coloured. And today we're going to be colouring this grayscale image, and we're going to be using plain old Crayola crayons. I did a bit of a portrait drawing and colouring class on Skillshare, and it was using various colours and paints and watercolours, so it wasn't a crayons class, but with my plan of wanting to use inexpensive products where I can, but basically not buying new products, I thought it would be a lot of fun to just see what we can do with plain old Crayola crayons and colouring the skin. So I'm not going to do the whole image today. I'm just going to do her face and shoulders, trying to use some of the colours that were sort of suggested in the class, although, as I said, those were watercolours. I created this picture using AI just to help me find where there's light and shade on a face, and I typed into my prompt for an oil painting, and I did want her to be looking to the left, and this lady is not looking like that, but I'm going to be using more that sort of the right-hand side of her face to just get the sort of shading and the colors, looking at the colors. My plan is not to have a smooth finished product. I want it to look artistic and full of like hatching marks, and to use the actual crayons and what they produce, but to try and make it look artistic. I'm trying to learn to be more free in my creations and less stiff, so I thought this would be a great opportunity. So now I'm going to be starting with this color, which is, it's called Violet, and it's got purple in brackets, and we used this kind of a purple. And now I'm going to be using little lines, which in art terms are called hatching. Sorry, I'm trying to sort my lighting out. I'm sorry about the shades, the stripes of light that are coming through, but the sun is shining and the curtains are not particularly thick. So I'm using these sort of lines and going, this is to create the shadows, and I'm trying to go in the shape of the shadow and to use a bit of curvature. And I will just zoom in a little bit so that you can see actually what I'm doing. I hope that you can see okay. I'm using a very light pressure, and I'm not doing straight lines, I'm doing slightly curved lines just in the shadows, and I'm holding my crayon sort of halfway up so that I don't use a lot of pressure. This is just Amazon paper, so it's not particularly thick, but I want to use a few layers and bring more colors in. I've followed and watched classes before using these sorts of colors with portraits, and I've always fought against trying them out, and today I thought, no, I'm going to go for it. I did it in all the exercises in the watercolor class, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't love what I produced, and I won't be sharing it, but I thought that's also largely to do with the fact that I don't draw particularly well. So I thought using this grayscale image would also be a bit of a help, because it shows me where the shading is. I do need to apologize a little bit about the lighting. I'm trying my best, but I think it's the time of day or something. It's just, I've got 2 ring lights shining on here, but there just seem to be shadows everywhere. So I'm doing this kind of hatching all the way down here, and then I'm going to be going further down. I'm sorry, my desk is wobbling and I'm using a new way of filming, and that is now attached to the desk, so it seems to be directly related to me and the pressure I'm using. I'm just going onto her neck and going to do the rest of the body as well, following all of these shade lines. And just, as you can see, it's more like doing dashes. I just want to comment that I'm not sure if you'll notice, but I am using a paper towel to rest my hand on because the wax is quite melty, and so I want to take care that I don't smudge things with the warmth of my hand. So I'm going to be doing all of this, and I think, oh, I'm really sorry about the wobbles. I hadn't realized that until now. I'm doing a voiceover because I find it very hard to talk while I'm coloring, and I think I might need to go back to my old way of filming. Can't find a way to do it that works well for me. So I hope you enjoyed that bit of music. It's from Epidemic Sound. I wanted to explain to you that with this color, with this red violet, I'm using it to go sort of over the violet, the purple violet, and then extending that a bit in the same way that one normally blends. Again, going very lightly. I'm not using much pressure at all. I'm just, so it's great actually if you've got arthritic fingers or sort of painful joints or anything to just do this and just go over like in these light little lines and the sort of whispering over the paper and just extending that color. I do hope that you're enjoying me allowing this to be in real time, and I'm fearful that the video may be too long. Please let me know in the comments whether you like it in real time or whether you would have preferred this to be a shorter video, but I thought it would be interesting for you to see the build-up and how long it takes. I won't finish the entire image, but I will finish the skin tones, and I'm going to add some more music for you and then continue. So here I am back again to chat to you for a while. You may be finding these some very, very weird colors, but you may also be seeing how it's starting to take shape, especially if you're coloring along with me and trying these things. I really would suggest that you try and do like either one you've printed yourself or on an extra piece of paper or just in an Amazon book. I wouldn't try this in one of my expensive Hannah Carlson books or something, just in case it turns out like a hot mess. But I think it's a real fun way to practice using different colors and to use your inexpensive art materials and to learn some freedom and to start to embrace the shape of this human form. I love the way that doing it like this and using the lines allows one to actually, I'm starting to see the roundness and the 3D shape. I don't actually have the words to express what I mean, but I'm finding it quite exciting seeing this face developing. I'm now going on to plain old brown. So this color is brown, it's just called brown, and I'm using this as one of my major colors and going over a lot of what's gone before and transitioning through and covering a lot of the rest of the space, but I'm trying to also maintain some of the pale and white highlights to kind of have that nice light shine that goes along with it. And I think one also needs to realize that everything goes through an ugly stage, and if you think, no, I can't do this, I need to stop right now, keep going, try trusting the process, try seeing what turns out. It's actually a lot of fun. When I finished doing this piece and this face and recording today's video, I realized that I may want to do some more layers afterwards, but I decided also that I will need to color in the headdress and the eyes and the black, the eyebrows and all of that, just to see how dark things need to be, so to balance it all out. So if I ever get around to a completed pages video, if I've ever got enough completed pages to show, then you will see what the final product looks like. But I'm having such a lot of fun doing this, and I hope that you do as well. I really would love to hear from you in the comments. It would mean so much to me to hear whether you've ever given this a try or not. But to me, especially on the forehead, the shape of using the lines going sideways has made a difference. And I wanted that jawbone, a bit of white there as well. I do hope that the sort of moving between the top of the head and down here into the torso, the way I'm doing this video, I hope it's not making you feel ill or anything. But I thought it would be nicer for you to have a zoomed in view of what was going on. So I hope that that's fine. As you can see, like the edges, I'm also trying to preserve that white space there. I do go over that later on with more of a peachy tone to sort of blend that in, but I wanted it to be light. Now I'm changing my pencil, my crayon hold, to sort of hold it over on top, and I'm doing more of a coloring sort of stroke. You can see what I mean. And now going back to at the base of the crayon and just very lightly trying to move those colors out. And now I've decided I need to actually get some of the shadow in, so I'm going back to the violet just on the edge there, and I will try and tone that in again with the red violet, just so that it's got the same process and sort of blending, going over that and pulling it out just a little and trying very hard not to make it look like stripes. We don't want a rainbow here, but just to get the shades. And now I didn't go through the red orange. I've just gone straight onto the brown on top of the red. It's interesting when one mixes colors, you often use opposites on the color wheel to get a brown. So now I have decided to bring the red orange in and then going over with the brown again. I'd just forgotten that, sorry. And just leaving a bit of highlight in the center there. And I've had such a lot of fun doing this piece. It's so much fun to color it, and I really hope that you'll consider giving it a try. I don't know what you'll think of it when it's done, but meantime, I'm going to put some more music on. So this is now really getting to the ugly stage. I do feel like on the nose I should have kept my directional lines better and not done the straight line down the one side. But this is often a problem I have. I can see things later on when I look at myself doing them. I'm going to be dulling down this orange a little bit later, but this is just to add some brightness to it. It's almost as if one's doing an underpainting of the whole thing, just to give all the shapes and map in the shadows and the form as we're going along. Quite fascinating in a way. Right, back to the top again. I think I'm going to zoom out now, just so that you don't get dizzy with me moving up and down, but I'm going over larger areas at the moment. So now just going over there and pulling this out a little bit, and I'm back to the brown again, and I'm going over that yellow orange with the brown, but it adds some brightness as an undertone to that brown. And I'm pressing just back again with the yellow orange. in and out and in and out, and just doing sort of what I feel like at the time, what looks like it's necessary. And now I want to just put in some pink lips, and for that I'm using just a carnation pink. I need to sharpen this crayon, but I didn't have my sharpener with me, so I've just done the best I can, and it's making quite a lot of crumbs. I'm just using a brush to wipe the crumbs away. This particular crayon doesn't seem to, the page doesn't want to accept the color. It's quite frustrating. I'm sorry about this wobbling. I hope it's not making you seasick. I will go back to my old way of filming. I can't find a happy medium of getting the right equipment to kind of do this, get far enough out to get the whole page in, and then I zoom in and out as I edit, because it's just easier doing it that way. I've pressed quite hard and now I've got some pink. Now we need to go back to, I'm using some green over this orange. Now, if you know your color wheel, red and green are on opposite sides of the color wheel, and I want this to be toned down a bit. So orange is close to red. I'm going over it with the green. The blue, violet, blue and green are close to each other on the color wheel, but I'm just trying to make those colors cool down a little bit and tone them down a bit with very light green. So I'm honestly like a butterfly wing on the page, and then I'm going to use some blue as well, just to cool it down. It's just the color is just called blue, and going over all of that. And it may seem very weird to you, but just cooling it down and using a bit of color theory to kind of get them together. So now I'm back again with the brown and a heavier pressure, and I'm going over a lot of the colors and sort of blending them all together. And just that wing of the nose I'm leaving with the white highlight. Always a little bit nervous that my crayon's going to break when I'm using a heavier pressure. I did wonder if I should end up using some solvent or not, but I decided not to. And I've tried to leave the white highlight around the chin so that that shines out. Not the chin, the side of the jawline is actually what I mean. Sorry, I was just out of frame for a minute there. It's quite a yellowy brown. It doesn't look quite as yellowy in life. Somehow the lighting and the camera have made it look a bit more yellowy. So now I'm back with the red violets just for the ears. Just want to go over that. and into the nose holes. Not using black, using the dark colors that I have been using, this purple and the red violet. And now this is a lighter brown. This one is actually called tan. So now we're getting towards the end, and I just need to come in with the next highlight color. And just the one area on the cheek that I still am not particularly happy with. The shoulders I'm actually quite liking. So this is actually peach, and I'm going over the whole face with this and trying to blend it all together. Just trying to get in at that area. Still want to leave a little bit of white there on the eye, but the peach is the paler color. So I'm trying all kinds of things here and not really loving how this is turning out. So I've decided I'm going to need to use some solvent and see if I can dissolve some of the wax and try to get a more smooth outlook and do another whole layer on this. So I'll show you what this looks like when we end up with this first layer, and then I'm going to do the turban and her eyes and eyelashes and eyebrows, which also make a difference. I'm using this green to try and neutralize some of the yellowy orange and some blue along there too, blue and purple, to make it look more cool. And let's see how this lands up. I hope you're enjoying this experiment with me. At the moment it really does look a bit of a hot mess, but let's see how we end up. It's always exciting to do art experiments. So I'm going to go into using the solvent next. So I enjoy using Zest It as a blender, and the lighting is a little bit better today. So I'm going to use some cotton buds with the Zest It, and I'm just going to go over everything. I am speeding this up a bit because of my fear that the video is getting just a little bit too long. I don't want to keep you here forever. And I completed the turban using also Crayola crayons, and I've not used any blender or anything on that. I just used a lot more hard pressure. And I've also done the eyes and the eyelashes using just little fine-tipped pens. And I think that that also makes the whole face look better and more defined. So I'm putting this just all over the show and blending it, and I change it for a clean cotton bud every now and then. And then I will, once this has been done, I will let it dry, and I will go on to doing another whole layer. I'll show you what this looks like when I've finished adding all of the solvent. You can see it's starting to look wet. So the whole face and shoulders are covered with solvent, and I just needed to get them dry. I actually used my hair dryer, and it was still a little bit damp when I decided to start applying the same colors again, and I'm going through the whole process again, applying shadows and moving all the way along, just varying my pressure between light and heavy, and using the same colors in the same places, and just trying to get more of that pigment onto the face. It's very frustrating to me to see the lighting when I do a voiceover, because as I'm filming it, the lighting actually looks okay, and then I see it as I do the voiceover and it's not okay. I do prefer, I've got a better view this time. Let me know what you think. But we're going to move ahead with this and see how she ends up. I hope that you like her. I have also been sharpening my crayons here and there, and having a sharp point really does help. I've now made this even faster, but I must say I did add a little bit more of the pink color along here, just because I felt as if her face was, it was just looking a little bit yellow. So I wanted to add some warmth with the pinks and the reds. But all the colors that I mentioned previously, I'm just using them and trying to be careful not to smudge. Also, when I used the solvent, I had to be careful not to smudge the ink. I wasn't quite sure what would happen there. So I'm just trying with this cheek. Those stripes and everything are better after the solvent. It did manage to blend those away a bit. And I'm feeling fairly happy with how she's ended up. We're just going to go along, and I'm just quickly sharpening a crayon, and then I'm going to come in with my next color. So we're blending out with the dark red orange as well, and I tried to keep the turban using also these sort of orange based colors so that it blended in, and then I kind of like the lips being pink and making them stand out a bit more. I must say, in real life, the colors look a little different to what they do on the screen. She is darker. She's definitely a dark-skinned lady, whereas on screen she looks more olive, and she doesn't look olive in real life. But yeah, this is the best I can do. I'm happy with my highlights. I feel like it's better highlight than I normally achieve, and I'm actually quite excited with the fact that one can achieve this at all with plain old Crayola crayons. Who would have thought? I find that quite exciting. This is now the plain brown that I'm using, going over everything, and a heavier pressure. And then I will go over everything with a very heavy pressure with the peach color. One definitely needs to take care to remember to use your brush to get rid of all the crumbles. And now for I was just trying a little bit of the same pink that I used on the lips, just doing a light sort of whisper over everything, just to try and warm up the color a fraction. And now I'm sharpening the peach and going in with little small circles and going over the whole face and trying to blend it all together. So I won't make you watch all of this. I'll show you the end result. So now I'm just trying to get some more pink color on her lips, and that came out a little bit splotchy. So I then used some solvent on that, which then took most of the color out, and I'm going over it while it's still wet with solvent, and it took a bit more color. And now I'm trying a darker pink, and I'm going to just leave them like that. And now I have colored the whole body. I've colored the hair with some black, and I'm going to use some of my favorite Pentel hybrid dual metallic glitter gel pens for the necklace. And I'm actually quite pleased with how she turned out. So let me get through. I'm sure you don't need to see me coloring this with gel pen. And I'll do a close-up of her face and then pan out again to the whole body, just so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see it's all smoothed out fairly well. And I'm actually quite excited by the result of this experiment. So now we can pan out again and see the whole completed lady. Ooh, I do absolutely love a little bit of glitter and shine, and I'm just adding some clear jelly roll glitter to parts of her mouth and to the eye, just to make things a little bit more interesting. And just a little bit on the lips, but it doesn't want to take very well over the waxiness of the crayon. So there we have our completed lady, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video with me. I'm just going to tidy up the surroundings so that you can see her, and I'm going to add a few little like white dot on the pupils and a few little white dots on her mouth, just to add some more sparkle and shine, and then I'm going to call her done. So I want to say thank you so much for watching this with me and for spending time, and I'd like to wish you a great, happy, crafty, creative, healthy week. Bye-bye now.